This is Tikatee with Questline Esports, and here's everything you need to know about Junker Queen. Junker Queen's passive is Adrenaline Rush, which allows any damage that her wounds deal to heal her over time. Wounds are applied with Junker Queen's melee attack, her knife throw, her Carnage ability, and her ultimate Rampage. Her primary fire shoots her Scattergun, which fires a shotgun that has slightly more forgiving spread than most shotguns in the game, which means it can be used effectively at slightly longer ranges. Her secondary fire is her Jagged Blade. You'll throw Junker Queen's knife Gracie as a projectile that deals damage and sticks into targets when they're hit. This ability can be recast to retrieve the knife and pull any stuck targets towards Junker Queen herself. Any targets hit by the returning blade, even if they aren't stuck, will trigger the wound damage. This is a good way to proc multiple wounds and to get your healing ticking, or just to get some extra ult charge. Her first ability is her Commanding Shout. You'll grant yourself and nearby allies temporary health and increased movement speed. Junker Queen is pretty selfish though, and she'll grant herself much more temporary HP than her allies, so while it can be used defensively for your team, you should think of this more as a personal cooldown. This has a pretty long cooldown as well, so don't use it too aimlessly or you won't have it for crucial moments to save yourself. Her second ability is Carnage. Swing your axe and deal strong damage and apply wounds to any enemies in front of you. This has a slightly longer reach than your regular quick melee, but has a long wind-up time. It's excellent for burst damage and applying strong wounds to grouped up opponents. Junker Queen's ultimate is Rampage.
Time for the reckoning!
Charge forward and apply wounds and anti-healing effects to enemies around you. This will deal extremely strong wound damage, and since it can't be healed, it's very easy to finish off squishy targets unless the enemy team has cleanse effects like Zarya's Bubbles or Kiriko's Protection Suzu available. This is an excellent engage tool against any grouped up opponents, and the wound damage will grant you a lot of self-healing if you hit multiple targets. Just make sure you and your team have the tools to finish off any enemies hit by this ultimate. Junker Queen plays like a juggernaut, which means while she can take a few hits, she prefers to hit back harder. She likes to get up close and personal and stick onto enemies for as long as possible. The self-healing from wounds and good use of the Commanding Shout can help her outlast enemies she engages in duels, and even help her turn lopsided fights into her favor. Junker Queen doesn't function like a traditional tank, but more like a beefy damage dealer. She can't take too much direct damage without needing to retreat. On top of that, her damage output and sustained pressure are very reliant on being able to hit her abilities consistently. My advice would be not to try and force every opportunity you see, but instead focus mainly on strong Carnage swing opportunities or catches with the knife throw. If you can follow this up into a kill, you can usually keep brawling, but if your target gets away, you can use Commanding Shout to relieve pressure or get yourself into a safer position. Now go show your enemies why you belong on the throne.